remembered. So I'll just let people in as it goes, but Kelly, are you using My Happy Genes, or what's happening with you at this point? You're muted. Yeah.
I'm not doing a lot right now. I'm trying to get my husband's on partial retirement. I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing. We had a lot of medical problems in the family at the beginning of the year. And so I'm kind of trying to decide, am I shutting down my business? Am I just doing it part-time? What am I going to do?
Yeah.
And that's it, really.
Okay. Are you considering telehealth?
I'd love to do more telehealth. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is, we're set up to do more of that. So this could be a way to do that.
Right, right. 'Cause I can do that while I'm sitting in the motorhome in a campground.
There you go. Anywhere on the beach,
Right.
somewhere sexy on the beach.
Right.
It'd be fun. So I'm just going to go ahead and start talking because I have a lot of things that I want to say, and since we're recording it, people can watch it later or whatever. But the reason, and I want to start doing a series of these. Gregory Ann is she's my marketing expert, and she's joining us today too. We're doing a series of little videos called Q&A with Dr. J, and they're kind of on topics of genetics, different topics like cancer or diet or methylation, etc. So they're gaining some popularity, but I wanted to talk to people that are actually using the My Happy Genes program. Oh, there you go. You're sitting on the beach now. Good job. People that are actually using the My Happy Genes program, the practitioners, and kind of show you the new features because we just rolled them out. In fact, today we rolled them out. So I want to show you those, but also I wanted to talk about a specific topic. And the topic today is the tryptophan pathway, because it's tricky and it can be a very dangerous pathway, and it can be involved in neurological problems and neuropsychiatric problems, ALS, Parkinson's, and other fun conditions or not so fun conditions. And so I wanted to kind of go over that pathway a little bit because I've been learning a little bit more and adding some more genes in there. So I'm going to, do you guys have any specific questions? Hi, Burton. If you have any specific questions, go ahead and ask them at any time. Do you have anything before we get started? Okay.
No specific questions for myself.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah, I just was looking forward to take advantage of the information you're willing to share and offer.
Perfect.
I use MHG, not extensively, but I want to get into using it more.
Okay.
So every little bit I learn is that much more, and I find it's not uncommon that when folks come into me for the first time, they've already done genetic testing with some other practitioner through some other lab, and so I try to use the genetic information that they already have, but I'm finding that to be more difficult than helpful, trying to sift through other labs' report presentations. Yeah, to put it in like really a workable format for myself. Yeah, I guess that's really where I'm at with things.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, because that was part of the frustration that I had too, and working with other people. Their reporting systems were hard to be concise about and apply
Yep.
in my practice. So we're totally open to any suggestions. If there are things like, wow, it would be easier if you did this, please, let us know going forward. We're really responsive to that.
I think for myself, it's just feeling comfortable telling people, okay, it's great you did that with that other practitioner, but I need you to retest. I need you to retest so that I actually get some information that's more readily usable. One child who's on the autistic spectrum that I worked with, they did a genetic with another practitioner, and the time I spent just trying to sift through the report, to glean something useful. If I were the practitioner that all I was going to do was read their suggestions at the end of the report, then it was really easy. But being as, yeah, no, I actually want to look at the genetic profile. I actually want to see what's going on, get that bigger biochemical analysis. Yeah, I found that to be really challenging. So for myself, I think it's just finding a comfortable way of telling people that what they did worked for the other practitioner, but it's not making my life any easier, and it's not going to help me really help them unless we just retest.
Yeah, that is tough. And we used to use, the 23andMe and Ancestry
Mm-hmm.
files, but they're only testing for about 40,000 SNPs, and we test now 675,000. So it just wasn't enough data to really give us an accurate, reading on what's going on with them genetically. So we kind of just
Mm-hmm.
discontinued that whole thing.
Yeah.
Because it was just, it was not accurate. So it was like, I'm going to be, guessing here because we're missing a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of data.
Can I
So,
make a point, Jay,
mhm,
about
sure.
that, Burton?
Yeah.
When you speak to the new client who's already been to somebody else and you want them to retest, I guess the question that comes up for me for them from you is, if it worked, you wouldn't be here. I'm not saying you would say it that way, but do you know what
Yes.
I'm saying? They're obviously not getting the help they needed from that last report and that last practitioner. It could be their practitioner, it could be the information they got in the report, but you have a tool that can actually help them, since it seems they didn't get help the first time.
Good point.
Yeah, good point. Okay, so let me share my screen, and I'm going to show you the new features because we've been working on these so hard for so long, and we're pretty proud of them. But it may not seem much to you, but it was a lot of work on the backside. So let me just share my screen here, and we will pull this up. So one thing I do want to point out is the My Happy Genes Academy. I don't know if you guys were aware of it, or you were already practitioners before we introduced it, I do believe. So just an FYI, when you come here, if you go to the Learn More, there's a button up here that says MHG Academy, and you can go there. And we have two levels. We have the first level, which is just how to use the program. It's the nuts and bolts of how it works, and that's free. And actually now people that are coming on board, we require them to take this so that they get their questions answered. So you can sort through there and go, oh, I want to review again how to hook up my patient to my
Mhm.
or whatever you need to know. But if you want to go deeper into the basics of genetics and biochemistry, but I know you two have taken holistic methylation, so this would probably be just a short review for you. But for those people that haven't taken it and they're just getting started and looking at genetics, it's a good sort of a practical understanding of the genetics and biochemistry. So there's that. And then there are sample reports here, and then you can log in and register. Again, the accounts are free still, and you get your commission. And we've set up a system where, like on GoPro, or not GoPro, FullScript, where you can get an account and you send your patients to go buy their supplements. That's what we have set up on the back side of here. So when you log into your practitioner account this time, you'll see this commission kind of thing here. And if you click there, it'll take you to the commission dashboard. And whenever you want to send a patient to go buy My Happy Genes at this point, you'll get a commission. And then at the end of the month, we'll send you a check. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible on you guys now. So you don't have to just purchase the kit and then resell it to your patients and, try and collecting money. They can pay for it up front. They can pay for their reports up front, and then you just get a check. So we wanted to get the easy button going for you guys. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I think it's a little bit less of a commission than if you bought the kit and resold it, but it's much easier than trying to, kind of have to buy it and then resell it to your patients. So we've been working pretty hard on that. Do you guys have any comments about that? Is that something you think you would use? Any of you? Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. The only question I have is I don't entirely understand how it works.
Okay. So when you when a patient logs in, let me log in as a patient. Let's see. So the client is connected to a practitioner. So they have, so my practitioner, you can see up here, we're linked. You know, my practitioner account is linked to my client account. And they can go in and purchase an MHG DNA kit. All I have to do is click that. And they can put it in a shopping cart. So this is much easier now to use. Put it in the cart, and then they just check out and buy it. So now I get credit. That's all that credit is going to go to me because I'm linked to that client. I'm making the commission without having to think about it. And you can also put that link, your affiliate link, you can put it on your website, you can put it on your social media platforms, and patients can click on that and you get a commission off of that. So there's several ways that you can earn commission now, which is kind of cool. That makes sense.
I think so. So starting off, it would just be having the patient create an account and then link to me,
Right.
or I would just use the affiliate code link you were talking about. I would just give that to my patient and then just say, here, go on, create an account, and then you can order.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
That'll all happen under your account once they're linked to you. So
Mm.
linking to your practitioner or linking to your client, you use that practitioner code, you know, they'll insert it in there and then they're linked to you and they can buy. So then you'll see on the, you'll see the summary, how much you're earning down here, which is kind of cool. And then we're going to pay out once a month. If you reach a threshold of $100, we'll pay you, we'll send you a check, or we'll set it up, or actually we have it set up in PayPal. So it can go directly to you. So yeah, we've been working long and hard on that silly thing.
Can they get the whole package there, or do
Yeah.
when I did it the other day or a couple months ago now, I had to I couldn't get the full report, all five of them. She could only get the first two reports, and then I had to run it through my account.
Right, yeah. So once they're linked to you, let me just show you. So you can, let's see, again, purchase a DNA kit. And as a practitioner, let's see, let me show you this in a different way. Can only report, okay. I'm trying to think here. Let's go back to the dashboard. So when you're linked to a practitioner or you're linked to a client, you can allow them to purchase right here. So you can click on this button and now the client can purchase.
Okay.
And you can auto share the reports. So it's up to you if you want them to be shared manually or if you want them to be shared automatically. So again, we've been working long and hard on this feature. If the client can, if the practitioner wants to buy them, you know, they can go in here and purchase a DNA kit, or they can purchase for a specific client. So if we go into view client details and purchase a DNA kit, and then they should be able to purchase these. She's already purchased them, so you can only purchase the DNA kit at this point. You can see the price here is $225. As a practitioner, if I bought it, my commission is $70 on this because retail is $295. If you do the commission program where it goes directly into your account, it's only a $50. So it's a little bit less when you do it that way, but it still makes it a whole lot easier. But this button is pretty cool because you can now
That's awesome.
the patient can go in and just purchase whatever they want. You've given them permission and boom, it's done and it goes right into your account. So we've been working really hard on that. If you look up here, the practitioner resources, if you click on that, there's also a link to the MHG Academy up there. The referral program is free now. So we're adding in holistic methylation and My Happy Genes on the referral program. So if you go there, it's, again, free. You can get started. You just create your profile and your account and get referrals. If you look in here, you can see, let me just show you a listing. And she's listed her specialties here. She's a My Happy Genes practitioner, provides telehealth as a holistic methylation practitioner, and provides telehealth for that too. So, and then people can review you as well. And they'll contact you through the message center here. Are you guys on the referral list?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Are you getting any referrals?
I've received one referral from it.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
So Kelly, this is a good way for you to start, your telehealth kind of business if you want to get started in there. Have any of you guys used the My Happy Genes Academy at this point?
I'm almost finished with the level 1.
Okay, great.
Mhm.
And here's the practitioner pricing table. If the patient makes the purchase through the portal as your client, there's your commission. If the practitioner purchases for the client, there's your commission. So this gives you kind of a breakdown of the different prices and the commission structure. We also now offer the 3-report package. So for your client, Kelly, that that already bought the DNA kit and the mood and personality, instead of having to buy the 4-report package, now you can buy the 3-report package to fill out or if they've bought the diet and lifestyle already by themselves, you'll just need the 3 reports. So we do have that option now too when you go to buy. So there's a few little, how-tos in here, but most of the how-tos are going to be in the Academy. If you want sample reports, you can click there and get those downloaded to show your patients. There's a bunch of educational webinar links here and podcast webinars for if you're wanting to have your patients go and check them out and watch some podcasts so that they get more information. This is good. There's also the drug and nutrient interactions for practitioners. So if you're wondering if there's a contraindication for a certain drug, you can click on that and it'll go there. And then we do have the patient brochure here, and you can download that, print it out, and use it in your clinic. We can also send you a few. We've been sending a few out. If anybody wants any, we've got a few left over here. And we can send those to you. But when you print it out, you can also, or when you download it, you can also add your name here, your name and address of your clinic. So we're trying to support a little education, a little bit better education here. Let's see. Sample reports, a DNA kit. Okay, any questions on any of that? We do have videos. We're updating the videos to just kind of instruct you on the new features, but they should be pretty straightforward when you log in. So again, when you log in as in your practitioner account, everything is updated. You'll know how to use these links now, and your commission. You'll need, when you click on that commission for the first time, you're going to use the password MHG practitioner, and then just reset your password to whatever you want to use. But it'll get you into the GoAF Pro system. And then again, you can watch your money accumulate in there. You can put your information here under settings, and then you can set up your PayPal account here, and then you'll get the payments through this system. Okay, well, that's enough of that. If you think of any other questions with My Happy Genes going forward, we're completely open to if you guys want to just reach out and call us or email us or whatever, we're here for you. One thing I do want to show you is some new changes that we're looking at behind the scenes. We've upgraded and updated a bunch of the alleles. So your sliders may look a little bit different when you log in this time. We found a few alleles that we had in there in the wrong direction. So we had to switch those around. So it may change just slightly, but we're always trying to make sure that we have the correct alleles reported. So you might see too that these are a little bit lower than you have seen them in the past. We corrected our algorithm and now it's much more accurate. Got new pictures too. There are videos in the My Happy Genes Academy that show you how to go over these reports with your patients, what you're looking at and what they mean. So let's go all the way down. So when we're looking at the table, again, I think you guys probably know by now that, what the red means, what the yellow means, and what the green means. And how we get the sliders, just so you know, for your edification, is that when a genetic variant comes up red and it's homozygous, it's weighted more on the slider than it would be if you had a heterozygous. And then of course the normal gene is going to be a 0. So it's, we're calculating all those genes that we've seen in a slider according to how many homozygous, heterozygous, and normal genes you have. So that's why that slider can change over time, because we might add a new gene in for a particular topic and it can change that slider a little bit. We're also adding in a few new sliders, looking at a cannabis use disorder slider here coming soon. Possibility of, I don't know if are you guys interested in pharmacogenetics? I know it's not up our alley to look at, what drugs you wouldn't want to use with a patient, but it can be handy for somebody that comes in and you look at their report and it's like, whoa, you shouldn't be on this drug. This is not good for your genes. So we're looking at a potential of that. It's going to be down the line a little bit, but it's a possibility that we'll be adding that in soon. And then you also probably know that when you click on the gene, it's going to pop open a balloon. It'll tell you what it does. And then if you click on this, it goes right to where I found that that information. So everything is backed up by a study, hopefully one that's legitimate. We do have a new geneticist on board on our staff, and she's fantastic. So she's going in and making sure that these are legitimate studies and that they're good and that these genes are actually very effectively, they're part of the slider that's robust. So we're looking at that. And maybe some of you know this, but some of you don't. If you look over here under result, this little arrow, if you click on that once, all the green ones will come up to the top. If you click on it again, all the homozygous will come to the top. So it gives you a handy way to look at the homozygous variants, which are the ones we're going to pay the most attention to pretty readily. So that's kind of cool. Today, I want to talk about the TPH gene, because this is kind of a bad news bear. And I'm going to go into that tryptophan pathway here in a minute. But this is actually my report. You can see all the MAOs there. She's a warrior. But again, the links are going to go to different places. But down here, we're adding a little more diet and lifestyle recommendations to each gene when there are specific recommendations for them. And for sure, experimentation with turmeric on patients that have the MAO gene, bad news, because it can really cause a backup actually through that tryptophan pathway. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. So there's that. Forbidden? No. Oh, come on. What is going on now? Let's go in here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so under diet and lifestyle. And one thing to note, this note is new on here, but we upload that 675,000 SNPs every time we load a report. So it's always updated. You're going to have the most current information every time you upload it. So again, these sliders are going to change a little bit. You'll see some changes in here. And hopefully you know that there are a bunch of links on this report to, more about gluten foods or more about histamines. Click here to learn more. There are a bunch of links if your patients want to know more about, intermittent fasting and calorie restriction, etc. Those all go there. Lactose, nightshades. I don't think there's anything new on this one at this point. The healthy genes, again, you're going to see the sliders have changed a little bit. We've added some new sliders and open to suggestions on these as well. We added one on oxalates with this at the suggestion of one of our other practitioners. He wanted to see what genes were associated with that. And you'll see I guess you'll see the cannabis use on maybe on here or maybe mood and personality. Not sure where that one's going to go. When you see that read more, you can click that open and look at the genes that are associated with each imbalance there. This one's new: concussion, negative outcomes, risks. It's interesting what genetic variants can cause negative outcomes with concussions. And one thing, when you're reading this report, it's important to look at the ratio of detox phase 1 to phase 2. If they're close together, that's good. But if you see them far apart, that can be a problem. So there's those. Nothing new on there. And the personalized supplements, nothing new on there. We did move the DNA kit information to the bottom because we found that patients were opening this up and downloading their DNA and couldn't read it because that was the raw DNA file. So we put this on the bottom so that they didn't keep doing that and calling us up going, I can't read this. So just making everything kind of work better. All right. Any questions on all of that? All right. Let's look at this stuff. Today, I was looking at this kynurenine pathway again, or the tryptophan pathway. And just to remind you, that tryptophan hydroxylase gene, when you see that on a patient's report, pay big attention to it because this one can be a big problem. When you have a slow-moving tryptophan hydroxylase enzyme, it can cause dairy intolerance. This is different than a lactose intolerance. These people, they're going to react, muscle testing wise, they're going to react negatively to dairy, but maybe okay on lactose or lactase, lactose. It could be that the tryptophan in dairy is causing a problem, but it can slow down that tryptophan hydroxylase gene. And this guy, couple of variants, we have the TPH1 and the TPH2. TPH1 is a little more rare. You're going to see more of the TPH2, but this one is associated with personality traits and neuropsychiatric disorders, impulsive aggressive schizophrenia, especially that A218C is highly associated with schizophrenia and uses iron as a cofactor. Mutations in this gene have been associated with an elevated risk of various disease and disorders, including schizophrenia, somatic anxiety, anger-related traits, bipolar disorder, suicidal behavior, addictions, and others. TPH2 has more of a musculoskeletal effect. Some of the same symptoms, but you're going to see joint contractures of the elbows and interphalangeal joints of the fingers and thumbs. Fallen arches, ulnar drift affecting the fingers of both hands, where the fingers slant toward the ulnar side of the forearm. And then joint pain and laxity. These people won't hold in adjustment. Adduction of the thumbs, where the thumb appears drawn into the palm, related to the contracture of the adductus pollicis. Also going to see here, anxiety, ADHD, OCD, paranoid schizophrenia, depression, panic disorder, major depression, joint laxities. It's kind of a bad one. And there's the diet and lifestyle recommendations. Avoid foods and tryptophan, including eggs, cheese, pineapples, tofu, salmon, nuts, seeds, and turkey. And then foods high in tyramine as well, because it converts to tryptophan, chocolate, wine, and aged cheeses. And remember, this is a vitamin D dependent enzyme. So when they have a genetic variant in the vitamin D receptor, they're not going to be able to absorb vitamin D. So you can't just give them vitamin D for this. A lot of times you have to upregulate the VDR, and it will upregulate that TPH, turning tryptophan into 5-HTP and then serotonin. But if they have an MAO variant down here, you could overload them on serotonin, and the whole pathway can back up again, all the way up to here. So when somebody with an MAO variant does the turmeric, it can again back that pathway up all the way up through kynurenine, quinolinic acid. And this is a danger zone, especially that quinolinic acid is highly neurotoxic. So for somebody, I'm not kidding with, a lot of people are like, oh, everybody should do turmeric. Absolutely not for somebody with an MAO variant. And curry can send them into the anxiety and sort of the aggression kind of realm. You wouldn't think it would be a big deal, but for somebody who's got some of these genetic variants, it is. So the IDO is the indolamine pyrrole 2,3-deoxygenase. It's the main enzyme of tryptophan catabolism through the kynurenine pathway, thus causing depletion of tryptophan, which can cause halted growth of microbes as well as T cells. So this can affect the immune system. Gluten and gliadin and dairy avoiding those is often helpful in reducing IDO activity that causes hijacking of tryptophan away from serotonin and melatonin production. So it can go up this way instead of going down. The challenge here is tryptophan, gluten, lactase, kynurenine, and quinolinic acid. And then to balance it again, it's the AKD. But getting up here into kynurenine, let me move this guy over a little bit. Let's see. Increased kynurenine production may cause depressive symptoms. Cognitive deficits are associated in schizophrenia are associated with imbalances in the enzymes that break down kynurenine. Kynurenine production is increased in Alzheimer's disease and cardiovascular disease, cognitive deficits, and depression. Also associated with tics. So if you see somebody, with the jerks and all of that, it could be the kynurenine is going up. But then there are a couple of enzymes that I have found, a couple of genes that I'm going to add in there, the KMO that I just kind of discovered. If you have a genetic variant there, it'll cause a backup of the kynurenine. And down here, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, some bad stuff. Again, tics and schizophrenia. The challenge there is kynurenine, and it's a riboflavin is the cofactor for that particular enzyme. And then, go ahead.
Just curious if the schizophrenia and Alzheimer's seem to be going together. Is that something you're finding?
I don't know. It'd be interesting to do a search on that because I don't have a lot of patients right now, and I don't have any with schizophrenia or Alzheimer's. But are you guys seeing people like that?
Well, my son is probably being diagnosed with schizophrenia right now. So
yeah. So it could be from this pathway. There are several different pathways where you're going to find this, but this is a pretty common one for that. So it's something to definitely test for and look for. The quinolinic acid, oops, where are you? Okay. Has a potent neurotoxic effect involved in many psychiatric disorders, neurodegenerative processes in the brain, as well as other disorders. Within the brain, quinolinic acid is produced by activated microglia and macrophages. It also acts as a neurotoxin, gliotoxin, pro-inflammatory mediator, and pro-oxidant molecule. So it's kind of a nasty. This one's Huntington's disease is here, Parkinson's, etc. So Alzheimer's, ALS, brain ischemia, Huntington's, and Parkinson's. And to balance this, it's B6 dependent enzyme and riboflavin help break down that quinolinic acid. Part of its job is to this enzyme right here, QPRT. Its job is to turn quinolinic acid into niacin or nicotinic acid. So we want to make sure that that one is upregulated. I haven't put the cofactors in there yet, but generally B2 is going to be your cofactor here for producing niacin. And that NAD, that's part of down here right before we get into electron transport chain. So a block in that QnRT can cause low energy through you're just not making enough NADH and FADH to get in down through the electron transport chain and make ATP. So again, when you're looking at people's DNA reports, I usually go through and just sort of take a glance at like what are the major genes here? What are the ones that are going to be, and what symptoms do they have? Aside from My Happy Genes doing the calculations for you, it does all that. But to talk to people about, why am I so depressed? Why am I having these tics? Why did I get Parkinson's? You can kind of glance through here and go, oh yeah, I remember her talking about this. And for me, it's a pretty high risk. So I've got 3 homozygous TPHs. And so it's something that I have to watch out for. These other 2 genes that I just found today, we'll be adding them into the algorithm so that you can take a look at those too. So this is what I do all the time is like I look up, these studies or try to find missing genes that are, associated with like pathways. And that's one of the main differences that we do compared to other DNA companies is we're looking at the pathways. We understand that when we turn on a particular genetic variant, that another one has to be looked at because now you've created a need for it down the line, and that there's no other company that looks at it that way. Everybody else is like, oh, you have this genetic variant, then you need to take this, and they don't understand the risks of doing that. One of the MTHFR, which you've heard me talk about that one a lot, and I need to go on and start talking to people about it because there's some loudmouth people out there going, oh, you have the MTHFR gene, you know who I'm talking about. You have the MTHFR gene, you should take methylfolate and blah blah blah. It's like, no, I'm going, no, don't do it unless you know what's happening downstream. And one little tip there, the riboflavin is a cofactor for the MTHFR. So instead of doing methylfolate, which can rev things up way too much, you might think of riboflavin in small amounts to upregulate that enzyme without causing as much side effect. And then again, that's in our algorithm. And we look at those interplay of genes, and then the calculation is done through your symptoms, the interplay of genes, and then the biochemical pathways. So we have a patent on that algorithm because it's pretty complicated on the backside. And I don't know, were you guys trying to get in this week at all and couldn't get in? Good, because we were down for like 4 days. My software programmer left town and our algorithm was all messed up. So our app has been down for 4 or 5 days, but now it's so accurate. We've corrected every possible thing that we could find in there that might have been a little off. So again, once you log in again and take a look at your reports, you're gonna see a little bit different results, but they're much more accurate. So that's my story. Any other Q&As that you guys have for the program? Okay, well, feel free to reach out if you do come up with anything. Again, if you get stumped, it's fine. You can reach out. Our assistant Helen is in Japan right now, but she's actually monitoring the emails and texts and stuff. So she can respond, although her time zone is a little bit different. So give her a minute. And we're glad to just help you through the new changes here. And hopefully you'll find that that things are much easier to work with. You can put all your purchases into a shopping cart. I think that alone is a huge improvement rather than buying the kits and then having to resell them. So that's the good news.
Jay, this summer we were talking winter, it's summer now, winter. I saw you in the summer in Florida, it was winter. The tissue mast cells, I have a couple of people where I'm working with, they're getting stem cell therapy, and I've got some kids and infants that we're talking about where we see all this crazy skin allergies. Do you have any insight to help calm down that mast cell overactivity? Is that part of these charts?
Yeah.
Commonality, or is there?
Yeah, there is. And it's in the HLA genes, especially when you start to look at the reports, to pay good attention to those HLA genes. And are you using the filters of the HLA, MHC, class 1 and 2, and cytokine vials? I think I gave you those, right?
I think you did. That's why I'm just trying to remember how to get started. I was hoping that she was gonna get on here tonight so we could ask that question.
Oh, yeah.
Because we've talked about some of these things, but I could remember how we got started. I had other things that cropped up.
Yeah, because those mast cells, you won't see, it's really difficult to figure out what, where they're reacting. But if you put those filters on the body and test the foods and the organs, you'll see where it's hitting, and then you can hit them. And it's just been variable. Sometimes it's methylation. They just need more methyl groups to hit it. It's not in the algorithm as far as like a remedy because it was just so variable. We found it to be very variable. But it is in the sliders. We have a slider for it in the My Healthy Genes report. You'll see the mast cell activation disorder genes under there in the slider. But as far as remedies go, I don't know. Monica, are you finding anything in particular for those? I think you test for those, don't you?
Yeah. Not really. I just use them to kind of show up the pathways that still need attention that don't show up without them on there.
Yeah.
So I'm using all the same remedies that we would normally use.
And that clears with using the filters on there and finding for the most part, I find that to be true too. Often I'll have to add a little bit of a methyl donor to get it clear, but that's what we're finding.
I have a question about the BDNF file.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's been coming up pretty frequently lately,
Yeah.
and it first tests adverse and then tests for safe and beneficial, and it's not safe, so too high.
Uh-huh.
And BDNF is supposed to be high.
Right. It's supposed to be balanced.
Well, that's what I mean. Like when I think about it, and I think, well, high is good, but if the body's telling me it's too high, then that's a problem. And so so I'm like, okay, exercise is good for increasing it. So then I told my client, well, you need to rest more. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, usually when that shows up, it's high interval intensity training, cold showers and
But doesn't that increase it? So if somebody has it too high, how do you bring it down?
How do you bring it down? Well, that's a good question. It seems like it's just been, the protocol clears it. I haven't had anybody have it I do have it like left over at the end and it's like there.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because it's in the super challenge kit, and that's the one I do at the very end afterwards. And I'm like, why is this showing up? But
right. It's a good question because I haven't had it show up after I've balanced everything. Usually it gets balanced through the pathways.
I think what I did was I whenever I'm not sure, I read your little blurb about it, about the vial, and then it was all about, central nervous system stimulation and stuff. So using stuff like Paraplex and Drenamine and stuff like that to kind of calm the central nervous system seemed to work. But
Oh, okay. Yeah, let
I
us
don't
know
know.
if
To
you'll
me, that seems like a Band-Aid, though. I don't know.
right, it does, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Let us know what you find. Maybe there's a cofactor there that we haven't discovered yet.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a good question because I just haven't run across it left over. Has anybody else seen that? Usually it clears by the end, but anyway, it'll be interesting to check their genes and see if they have, more than one there.
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty high risk of Alzheimer's, and it's something you definitely want to, get balanced. Whether it's too high or too low, I consider it a problem, if the
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Okay. Does anybody run across TPH patients? With the joint stuff, their fingers will look like that. I'm the classic TPH person. You can see my fingers are slanted to the other side. And every once in a while I'll go, God, I'm just so grouchy. What is the matter with me? And I'll go and check the vials, and sure enough, tryptophan has gone up. I've eaten curry, or I've done, too much meat, or, something has set it too high. And usually ADK will drop it down, or some riboflavin will drop it down. Progesterone upregulates the MAO gene and can drop the serotonin and tryptophan and kind of open that pathway up. It's a really good handy thing to do if somebody is just coming out of their skin with irritability, just slather them with natural progesterone. It's a Band-Aid, but it can help them, just pull them out of it pretty quickly. So, yeah, it's an interesting pathway. Keep your eyes open for that one, because it can be a real troublemaker for people. A lot of depression there, a lot of just brain dysfunction and funky stuff going on in the nervous system. So anyway, so this is what I want to do with these Q&As, is just kind of do a regular, like, let's cover a gene pathway or a particular gene that we've added in and what it means going forward. And they don't have to be an hour long. They could be half hour or 45 minutes. But is that something you guys would be interested in
Yeah.
doing? Okay, cool. And is Wednesday a good day for that, or is there a better day? Is this a good time?
Works
And
for me.
okay, in the evening after work, but not too late to interfere with dinner. So, okay, sounds good. And then we'll record them, of course, and then put them on the website. All righty. Well, that's all I have. Good luck with looking at the new features on My Happy Genes, and let us know if we can support you in any way.
Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Good to see you guys.
You too.
All right.
Thank you.
You bet. Bye-bye.